Okay, so we are live, hopefully. So
Yes, we are.
welcome back to another Monday night edition of our business live streams with a business Q&A. Tonight we are going to be talking more specifically, going into further detail about running a six-figure business, or a six-figure blacksmithing business, if you will, and taking and delving deeper into the subject of scaling up your business through scaling up your items. And then we will also go into, as our main topic point, about marketing and how you can do better jobs at marketing in order to scale up your business, because those two are not one and the same. They are synonymous with each other. Usually they go together hand in hand, but they are not one and the same. So we'll be keeping those as two separate topics. Yeah, so for anybody who's watching on the replay, it ought to be a good evening. I don't know how long we'll stay on for this evening, maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depends on how ranty I get, right? And how many questions we can get answered. And we've already got one person in the chat. Hello, Brian Neely, good to have you here.
You got us all to yourself so far.
Yep, you have us all to yourself, according to our end. Oh, Spencer Coots. Well, now, you know what? Now the gang's all here. So, hey there, Spencer. Good to have you here. So, like I said, we are going to be talking again about how to scale up your business. You've been in it a while. You went from the mom and pop shop, like what we've talked about in the last week's live stream, and now you're trying to go full time at this. And maybe you've been doing it full time for a little while, but you're not making a ton of money at it. And you're looking at ways of trying to scale it up to where it can be more reasonable of an income for you.
Yep.
So that's what we'll be talking about tonight. And I'm going to shut off these notifications so you can talk for a second, Jess.
Sure. Let's see. We also have Hammer Time New York says, hi guys. For the Honor Forge, hi. I'm going to be heading out to the shop to scale up my forging capability.
Awesome for the Honor Forge. Oh, and by the way, we have been getting everybody's messages, emails, and stuff. We have been insanely busy. I have not been able to sit down and really reply to a whole lot of messages here lately. But we are going to try to get to those over the course of this week. So if we haven't answered anybody's emails back, just bear with us. We'll get with you as soon as we can.
Yes.
As soon as we can. So.
Yeah. Yes. Also, after a bit, we have some announcements too, as far as some upcoming streams, and we will make sure everybody's in the know about that, especially if you're here on the stream to join us. So.
Yeah. Exactly. No. Somebody asked.
B-Boy B-Toy. Our names are Jessica and Roy.
Yep, there you go.
Yep. And if this is your first time here, welcome. This is a business live stream where we answer mostly business questions, and on Friday nights we do forging live streams. Yep.
Edge Grey Wolf, hello. Ben Toombs, pleasure to have you in the house as always. Corey Shire, hello, hello.
What the Forge, speaking of scaling up, I'm looking to upgrade my camera. What would you recommend for a mid-range, over $100 camera for filming YouTube videos?
Good question. So I would say a good mid-range. Sony has some pretty nice options for cameras, although they do have some overheating issues on the lower end stuff. You can never go really wrong with a Canon. I would say probably if you go and look at like your local Walmart, a lot of those are cameras that have been scaled down as far as feature sets on them. That basically they've got a lot of the things like the
less than $100. Sorry,
yeah.
I said it the.
Oh, less than $100.
I said it the wrong way.
Okay, less than $100. Let's see here. So I think you could pick up secondhand GoPros and things like that. You do get a little bit of fisheye look on it. As far as price wise, if you're trying to get good quality imagery and things like that out of a camera like a DSLR for YouTube and stuff, I I would save your money up and buy something like the Panasonic Lumix G7. It's a very economical entry-level camera for this. If you are looking at just trying to upgrade and get the most value, you can do it with a cell phone.
Yeah,
cell phones are great options. This filmed over 500 videos on this channel, so they're a great option.
That's a, what is that? Yep. We picked right now. Those run about $200, and they will shoot in 4K, so it is a good option. What kind of phone is that called? It's V20.
LG V20. Sorry, I didn't understand what you were asking there. So for the Honor Forge, God bless you. Thanks you for stopping by. Have a good night. So
B&B Forge, welcome. Love the shirt, says Ben Toombs. Yeah, we're wearing some of our merch this evening. So.
Yeah, we are. So yeah, this one's one of my favorites. We all can't be the flavor of the day. This one of my favorites, and the other one there is the authentic T-shirt. So definitely like this. So.
Yeah, Roy's been wearing around the one that says "Good enough for YouTube." He's wearing it out in public the other day. And
you get some looks.
He's telling me I was getting some funny looks.
Yep. What the Forge? It's a Panasonic Lumix G7. Look that up. It's a great camera. That's what we're filming on. It's what we do all of our streaming on. We've got 2 of them. I don't know if you want to pull out one of them or not, but you do it. Sure. You can find stuff, like I said, you can find used units like second hand, and they're a couple $100, $200-300. So, I mean, though you're going to have some scuffs and some minor wear and stuff, if, price is an issue, sometimes it's just good to go ahead and save up for something like that and kind of shortcut it. If you're just looking to upgrade your cell phone, then you can throw an extra $100 on top of a cell phone and get something like this and do a really great job. So,
yes, this is the Panasonic Lumix G7. It actually is in a cage right now, a small rig cage. But so the camera is a little smaller itself, but
it's lightweight. It's a great camera. Yeah, it can do 4K.
It's called a mirrorless, so it's not a digital SLR. It's a mirrorless, which is newer on the market. But yeah, it can do 4K, like Roy said, and the lens that it comes with is an adjustable zoom lens, and it's good for tight spots in the shop. So.
Yeah, and you can find these for anywhere from about $600 to $800, dependingly. I mean, some of them will come with extra accessories like the cages and stuff. I think the lowest I've seen price was right around $600. So,
we'll probably next Monday. We're actually, one of our announcements is next Monday. We're going to be doing a YouTube.
A YouTube-related live stream around business and YouTube.
One of the things is I may gather up a lot of the resources and stuff we found, and I'll try to put those all in the description when we go to do that.
B-Boy, B-Toy, good night to you as well. Thanks for stopping in. Susan Ellis, hello. Hello, everybody. So, okay. And let's see here. Spencer Coots, the microphone that we are currently using, the one that I use in all my videos is a Rode VideoMic Go shotgun mic, and it's a pretty decent microphone, real simple, plugs right in, doesn't require any batteries or really any extra thought process. And those run for anywhere around $60. You can get them down from $40 when they're used all the way up to about $75, brand spanking new. So, yep. Ed Christini, hello. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it just a little bit here. Hello, everyone. Sarah and Mike G as well. Good to have everybody here this evening. All of the regulars are here. Got 22 watching. Make sure to hit the like button on this stream if you do like these sort of things. If you think that we're doing a good job, do that. If you think we're doing a terrible job, hit the down arrow as well. The little down, thumbs down thing. Either way, it counts as engagement and it helps the channel grow one way or the other. So last week we talked about a very tricky business called six-figure incomes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we talked a little bit about kind of, some thought processes around it, some ideology, some concepts of how to get you there. Now we're going to delve a little deeper into kind of like the meat and the taters of it. So one or two things is going to happen in your business. You're either going to have to increase product flow, or you're going to have to increase product price in order to take and get your income up. Because if you don't, and you have to decide, you really have to decide for yourself, what type of business do you want to be? Do you want to be a high turnaround company, so where you have a high amount of products that you're putting out there, so you're just going for a mass effect? And maybe that'll work if you have small items that you can stamp out by the hundreds or thousands, and then you're starting to teeter on the line of just becoming a factory at that point. So you kind of have to decide where you want to end up on that scale as far as business goes. The other thing, on the other side of things, you can also you can raise your prices to a limit that is above your current skill level. So what that means is your prices are set higher than what you're able to actually obtain to via quality-wise. So it's you kind of have to do some self-introspective looking and see where you're at as far as forging and as far as your business is concerned. Any business. This is in any business. You have to take a good, honest look at the product you're offering, and then you have to see the price that you're offering it at, and you have to say, is this good enough in order for me to get XYZ dollars out of it? Mm-hmm. Whatever that may be. So say you're selling something like earlier on, in the early years, we sold our copper bowls that we do and copper vessels and stuff. We sold them for what, $20 I think it was, as a low end, and yeah, I think $100 for like the biggest bowl that I offered at that time, which was like 10 inches or something like that, 10 or 12 inches, was like $100. But my skill level was just starting. I had a really cruddy buffer. I had really base kind of level things. My finishes weren't as great as they are now and things like that. But I started there. Well, I started selling a ton of these items at $20, and I was just rolling in the dough. Just rolling in the dough when it came to these. And I'm going to talk about something here in a second that ended up happening. I thought I was rolling in the dough, but I was actually going in the hole. I was actually getting backwards on one particular variety of these bowls. So I went this route because I got tired of doing hooks. At the time, I was doing nothing but horseshoe nail hooks. Yeah. And I was by the hundreds upon hundreds. Mm-hmm. We were doing between 200 to 400 of those hooks every month. Mm-hmm. Every month. And it got to a point where I was taking and deciding between doing larger work and just doing hook work. So that's where I said you're going to have to dance this little delicate balance for yourself and your company to decide where you want to be. Because I could have easily maybe marked down the price of the hook a little bit and try to figure out every way possible to make them a mechanical type deal where I barely touch the hook at all, other than to feed it into the machine. And I most certainly could have done that, but that's not what I started forging for in the first place. That wasn't my mission statement. I do hand forged items, right? I didn't do hand fed items into a machine. I did hand forged items, right? So I was at my limit doing 400 hooks a month. I just couldn't mentally or physically pump them out any quicker or any faster. So I had set a ceiling. I was never going to get paid any more than about, I think at that time, I forget what that added up to. That was roughly about $1,000 a month up to about $1,500 a month, right, with some other related ironwork interdispersed and mingled in there. So I was never going to get above that bar because it just wasn't physically or mentally possible. I don't care how long you've been at it. Eventually you become a zombie if you're just one hook, next one, one this, one that, next one. Just soul-sucking. That's why I call it soul-sucking work. So then I started to take a chance. I said, I'm going to stop doing hooks. We had an inkling that my copper work might take off. We were getting a lot of sales that way. I was having to make this decision between the two. And what we did is we pivoted. We shifted. We stopped doing hooks cold turkey.
Yep.
Cut them off. Removed the listings. They were our best seller. Basically got rid of our $1,200 to $1,500 a month income. Guaranteed almost every month income. We got rid of that and instead moved on to product creation around my copper work and doing things like that. And when we did that, that was a big scary shift.
Yeah.
It was a big scary shift. Another one of those leap of faith moments in our life. But we did it. We did that leap of faith. Praise the Lord. He blessed it abundantly. And we never missed a beat. And in fact, the next month, we saw not a lack, we saw an increase into our pay. Didn't we? We saw an increase in our pay scale. We went from about that $1,200 to $1,500 amount, and we jumped up to about $1,800 to $2,000 a month. Right then, with just one product change. Yep. So this is how you can scale your business, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You want to add something to this?
Yeah,
Instead
sure.
of going on?
Yeah.
And thank you, Gordon Family Forge, for the $20 super chat. Is that $20 super chat?
It says $2, and then it looks like he typed 20. I'm not sure.
Okay. Whether it's 2 or 20, we appreciate you anyhow, Gordon Family Forge. Thank you, sir. Don't know how to go up and look at people over right here. Go ahead. I'm being ad.
Yeah, so I was going to say that kind of keeping tabs on where your business is coming from and evaluating, what products are you selling the most of and what percentage of your time goes towards making those products. It's really good to do the calculations on that and to see whether it's worth your time or if you're starting to pick up in another area of forge work and if it has a higher profit ratio for you. And if you are starting to pick up in another area, that you have to decide for yourself, do you want to make that cold turkey cut or do you want to try to do something to transition? So one way that you could do a transition on something like this would be actually to raise the prices, to limit the quantity, or to extend your deadlines on how frequently you can make them. So instead of being able to have a 1 week turnaround, putting a 1 month turnaround. So any of those three options that could help you transition into something else if you need to.
Yep. So, and sometimes, sorry, I got a piece of ice. But sometimes it helps to take and do that anyhow in your business just so you can get some lead time. Take a self-pay cut just so you can get some lead time to create more products for the business. That is something that we're going to go into more in depth in business of how to work on your business and not so much in your business. Right now we're talking about how you can increase you working in your business in that efficiency and making that time more valuable while you're working in the shop, in the business. We'll get over to the other side of how to work on your business. That's a whole other thing. Whole other thing entirely, and that actually requires you to get out of the shop more. So again, we'll get there eventually. We do a lot of videos on the business side of things and everything, but I just wanted to take and point that out as a clarity. There is a clarity there. So, and everybody's doing some super chats. We'll take some time right now before I get back into my little rant here.
All right.
Not really a rant, my instructions. And we'll mention these super chats. So go ahead, Jess.
Graham's $10 super chat. Thank you, Graham. Says, Roy, I worked out my sales for the last 7 months was $30 per month. This year I have gone up to $90 per month. Still no one has looked at my tulips. What can I do? We did see your message on that.
Yes, we did. We have not gotten back to you yet, but we are going to give you a full in-depth reply, Graham. Sorry, we've been really slammed since we've gotten back from vacation, so overly so. But we will get back to you on that. Just to answer closer, so first of all, congratulations on making that $30 a month go up to $90 per month.
That's 3 times more.
That's 3 times more than what you were getting per month, and that's only going to continue to grow. One of my biggest pieces of advice of no one's looking at your tulips, what can you do? We haven't looked at your store here recently, and we were going to go take a look at that, and like I said, we'll answer you more in depth on it. But one thing I want to encourage you with, Graham, is you need to just move on, brother. Fill up the store with the tulips, and then move on to another item and keep working at items. A lot of times, it's easy to get caught up with an item being very, very, very popular for a long time or expanse of time, and you think, okay, I'm going to get all this tooling set up for it. I'm going to buy all these blanks. I'm going to buy all this stem material. I'm going to forge out everything in advance. I'm going to get it all welded up, and I will be like a factory for these things, and then the market drops out from underneath you. Don't get worried. It hasn't really changed. It's just they come in seasons and then they go. So that's why you have to diversify the things that you do. Whether it be hooks, I'm sure you've seen increases in hooks and kind of decreases in hooks. You saw the tulips kind of rise and then kind of decline. You could add different variations or styles to those tulips, different color variations, different materials.
Like a tulip sculpture instead of just
yes,
freezing.
you could do a full sculpture with multiple tulips and maybe some extra leaves or something like that. You can start incorporating other items. I would suggest doing other different flower arrangements, because a lot of the flowers, especially if you're servicing like the wedding industry, some people like tulips, some people like calla lilies, some people like lilies, some people like roses, some people like poppies, some people like all sorts of different stuff. So when you're doing the floral or the organic element side of things, just remember different people have different tastes. So why not try to meet everybody's taste with some sort of your product? So that's just a real quick on that, Graham. Thank you so much, and God bless you, brother, for the $10 super chat. And by the way, we are continuing to pray, and we prayed just before this live stream over your health with the breathing issue. I just wanted to let you know that. And I hope everybody else will do so as well. We hope everybody else will pray for Graham in that, and that God meets his needs. So we're going to get back to you with a more in-depth email when we get a chance to go look at your site more in-depth and things like that.
Yeah, I'll try to suggest some tags too if I see any that you could use.
Yep, we'll dig in deeper there for you, brother. Gordon Family Forge said?
Yes. Said, I'm sorry guys, I screwed that up. I meant this to be 20. So God bless you. Thank you for all you do.
God bless you, and thank you. And $2 was fine. We'll take 22. Oh, God bless you, Gordon Family Forge. And I did get got your email too as well. Again, we're trying to get back with everybody this week, so trying to get caught up.
Yeah.
But it's been crazy.
Yeah, if you guys weren't here on the Friday night live stream, we did take a little vacation last week, like middle of the week, so kind of threw everything off a little bit, but some much needed relaxation time. Yeah,
we need much relaxation time. Oh, and everybody, thank you for giving them hand claps in the comment section. It does go to help support this stream. And by the way, I was going to mention this on the Friday night stream, but I decided I'd do it tonight. Because of all the generous super chat donations and everything else, we finally hit our goal enough to get a wireless lavalier mic system for me, so that should help out. Hopefully the streams, we have to get what they call an external audio recorder in order to be able to use it during the live streams, and a wired lapel mic for her. But I will have a wireless lapel mic, which should give me better, cleaner audio in the shop when I do my demonstrations. You'll hear less of the equipment or fans running, and you'll hear more of my voice. And I won't have to yell so much and things like that. And the audio should get a lot more consistent. So thank you, everyone who's been donating in super chats towards that, and just towards our general well-being. as being here and supporting these streams. We do greatly appreciate you. So just wanted to announce that, and so now you know. So thank you.
Let's see here. I wanted to answer Mike G, your question. Yep. Brian, Jessica, would it be a good idea to put my Etsy on vacation mode when their baby comes? My experience with vacation mode is you don't want to use it because they, at least unless they've changed it, they completely make your shop invisible. They
I don't believe they've changed it.
They don't show your products to customers. They don't show up in search results or anything like that.
And it takes about a month for you to get back on the horse. I wouldn't do that. I would set out your deadlines.
Yeah, set out your deadlines, and then also, depending on how many listings you have, if you just put a little note at the top of each of your listings, right now, our baby's coming, the orders are going to be on a, 6-week delay or whatever. You could put a note there. You could also put a note in your banner. Your Etsy has a little banner for your landing page when people come into your shop. That'd be another really great place. And then, like Roy said, go ahead and set your actual deadlines on the listings out as well. And I think that would have you covered as far as still being able to keep the views coming in and some orders. Although it may be an extended deadline for your customers, but I'm sure they'll understand.
Yeah.
So.
Tyler Anderson, I'll answer your question. He said, on average, between YouTube and forging, how many hours a week do you put into your company? So my company, Christ Center Ironworks, that comes first and foremost. When we are busy like we are now, I put in 60 to 70 hours a week there in the store. That's not necessarily me in the forge. I'm the only guy, so that's everything from like what I did today. I went down and I picked up $456 worth of steel for the shop. Tomorrow I've got a lot of parts running I got to do. I got to buy some new equipment, some different tools, chop saws, things like that. There's a lot of big orders and stuff that I've got coming in. We're constantly quoting jobs, quoting work. I'm getting other quotes from other people for stuff that I have to have subbed out. So, I'm getting to a point where I'm working a lot on the business as well, and so my deadlines are way out. They're usually stretched way out. So that's where I say that I have a good 40 hours a week for the next 8 months sold out right now. So I am backlogged 8 months in work in the shop, and that's if I were to work solidly 40 hours a week at it. So that won't take me 8 months to do because I work, like I said, between 60 and 70 hours a week. I work 6 days a week, generally. And then when it comes to YouTube, there's about an additional 20 to 30 hours a week on top of that. Again, it depends. Some weeks it's more on YouTube, some weeks it's less on YouTube, and it's more on, it's just more on my business. Now, I do the thing, I batch film. Sometimes I'll film up, 5 or 6 videos at a time. That way I get a break. I get a spanse where I can stay focused 100% in the shop. So I do have a video library that I have of backlogged videos that I worked on in my slow time. Mm-hmm. My slow time in the company. So hopefully that works. Hopefully that answered your question.
We did. We saw the video on the gold forging that Alec did earlier, so that was very expensive forging, that's for sure.
Somebody said it was like $4,000 worth of gold, so. Mm-hmm. Yep. Which is still pretty small. I don't know what that means. We're in blacksmiths, not goldsmiths. Yeah, we're blacksmiths, I think is what he meant, so. Yeah.
Brian Neely, do we bookkeep our YouTube channel separate from the blacksmith shop? No. Right now, all of our business ventures that are blacksmithing related in some form are all under the umbrella Christ Center Ironworks.
Yep.
But
that'll be changing in the next 6 to 8 months or so.
Yeah, it'll be changing eventually.
Yep.
Yep. And the reason why we'll be changing it is not so much for. Not that we get a tax benefit of any sort from doing that, but it's just good from a safety mindset, I guess, or a legal mindset that for each individual business to have its own
LLC, for it to have its own EIN number, things like that. and it does its own taxes and stuff. Reason for that being is, so say, say, which never happens, say for some reason I install a railing, right? I install a railing at a customer's house, lady slips, falls, grabs the rails, and something snaps loose and she falls to her death, right? Mm-hmm. The family comes back after Christ Center Ironworks, me in general, right? Mm-hmm. Or the owner of, or, they come back, they come out at the company. This is why you have to sign everything when you make mention or you talk to somebody, that you put your titling of the company when it's for business work. You have to keep those two things separate. When it's something like just personal, just two dudes chatting, it's not about business, it's just Roy. Signed Roy. If it's something about business, you ask me a business-related question or something like that, it's all under business, owner, operator, Christ Center Ironworks. Goes underneath that letterhead. It's an extra level of protection, so this way if somebody were to sue you, they cannot take everything you own, basically. They can only attack the business. If somebody were to sue me personally, say I got into, I don't know, whatever you get into, I stubbed somebody's toe or something, right? And it was on me personally. I fed somebody a bad hot dog at a 4th of July event, right? They got food poisoning, went in the hospital, they sued me. They could take everything I own, technically, me personally, but they could not attack my business.
That's the idea, or the concept.
That's the concept. It's not always bulletproof. Definitely get an attorney to back all this up and write it all out in legalese. But the same thing with currently, so say I got sued for that railing snapping loose, right? Lady falling to her death. Or dude, if you want, not against either. Well, somebody got hurt. They sued Christ Center Ironworks. This channel could go possibly bye-bye. If I went bankrupt and had to remove all, inklings about the word Christ Center Ironworks, all this other stuff, everything would go bye-bye, basically. So I wouldn't have YouTube anymore, and all the videos, wouldn't have all that good stuff, wouldn't have my business or any of my tools or my shop equipment, and I'd have to start from scratch. So with that being said, that's why you set up multiple businesses. They can all be named differently, or they can all be named similarly, and it's a good, important part to provide separation, especially in the day and the age that we live in now.
Yeah.
So
with the Forge, we started off as a sole proprietorship, and then we ended up filing our LLC a couple of years later. So that's currently we are an LLC. So that answers your question. Justin Wells, you want me to read this question or see where
we're try to make sure.
If you want to try forging precious metals, start with silver. Okay. Much cheaper.
Yeah, much cheaper.
Still a lot more expensive than steel, but...
Okay. You can answer Justin Wells. So, Justin Wells, you posed a really great question. I think this is a great way of taking and doing this. He said, I'm a Christian, and yesterday I was listening to a preacher, and the preacher said that we need to take our dreams and ambition and give them to God. How do this in a craft like blacksmithing? Or how do I do this in a craft like blacksmithing? So I do not believe that your hopes and dreams are completely unfounded or ungrounded. Some people see those as two different things. There's a difference between like desires or unholy desires or something like that, and something that God's laid on your heart to do, something that you want to do, right? And you feel very strongly about that. And so putting your trust in God and allowing Him to kind of intercede and kind of direct you and guide you and open doors of opportunity. Maybe that's what your pastor meant. I don't know. I wasn't there. But that should be what he meant by that. If he meant to just say, like, just take, you shouldn't worry about doing or pursuing any of your hopes and dreams. You should just give them all to God, and then, if He sorts them out, then great. If not, well, you're just stuck. I think that's bogus. It's a bunch of malarkey. absolute malarkey. So again, it could be a tough thing. It's really up for you to kind of do a spirit check and check your own spirit when it comes to that. Read a lot, any verse you can find about that in the Bible. But for me personally, I felt a strong calling that I wanted to be an artisan. I wanted to do something for God. That's why I named my business Christ Center Ironworks. If anybody hasn't guessed it yet, I'm a Christian. Not a good example of one, but I'm a Christian, right? So, I have my flaws and, work through those things, right? It's a process. But I would not be where I'm at today if I just said, oh man, that would be so nice. No, you know what? God just wants me to stay at my day job that I hate, Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be here now, right? I wouldn't be here now. And I didn't get here now. I got kicked. I felt a call of the Lord that this is what I needed to do. He had something bigger planned for me. Mm-hmm. And he put that desire right in here. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I ended up ultimately pursuing after getting my kick out the door from the company and the cushy job that I was at and the position that I was in. Yeah. Did you want to add?
Yeah, I did. I want to say a little bit, part of it's whether or not you have peace about doing it, and also, what doors of opportunity open to you. And additionally, when Roy and I started, we did have, several years where we were quite low income for a while, but even so with that, we still, even when it seemed mm-hmm. impossible that our bills would be met for that month, he still managed to give us just enough money that, we survived that month. We weren't behind on our rent or our electric mm-hmm. or things like that. And so, he's always financially kept us going and made sure we have what we need.
Yep, definitely. So I'm going to get back here. I know you guys have been asked a couple other questions. We'll do a little bit here.
Copper is cheap as well.
Yep.
There you go.
Copper is cheap as well.
Put some copper.
Hello, everybody that just came in. God bless you. Thank you for being here. Make sure you hit the like button. I think Page had to bounce. Page, thank you for showing up. Might be a day late and $1 short there. Oh. And then let's see here. And then we are going to get back here. I'm going to go ahead and get back on to the little subject. So we're talking about scaling up, right? Mm-hmm. Scaling up your business. And I'm hoping that this will help out. So to start it all off, we've already talked now about the two different, the things that we're talking about tonight. The marketing side, we're talking about the scaling up. We're talking about went from hooks to bowls, right? It jumped our income from $1,200 to $1,500 up to that, $1,800 to $2,000 a month income, right? So we've talked all about that, but now I want to talk really briefly, if I can, about mentality. So the mentality of this is very hard for artisans to get. There is something almost sanctifiable. You can almost put a feather in your hat. I don't know how else to take and say it. There's almost like a pride that comes with being a broke, starving artist, living in poverty, and swiller and squalor, right? There's almost this thing around like a romance, if you will, about, oh, I'm an artist. I never get paid for my time. I can't tell you how many times I have heard that. If you don't get paid for your time, you can't do a whole lot of art because you're too busy living your life to pay your bills, right? Yeah. Some other way. So, if you're joining a hippie commune somewhere and everything's free for you, except for somebody who's paying for you to be there and giving you food for free that worked for it and things like that, if you're going to go join a little hippie commune out in the middle of the wilderness and everything's going to be peace, love, everything like that, great for you. Great for you. But there is humility and being an artist are not one and the same. Starving artist is not humility. Taking one for the team is not humility. You have got to get that out of your mindset. You've got to get that out of your mindset. People go to work, they work 9 to 5 or 12 to 12 or whatever the variance you will. They have varying degrees of job difficulties. I'm sure you all do out there, just like I did. You know, just like Jessica did a long time ago, right? Before we were married. Okay, everybody kind of has your routine, you know, your job. You go to the office, you do a certain amount of work. The boss expects a certain amount of things done. You expect a certain amount of pay out of that, and he pays you once a week. And in turn, you go around, you take and you pay your groceries, you put shoes on your kids' feet, and, you know, pay all the tax man off, everything else, light bill, boom, go to sleep, wake up, start the next week all over, right? You do that. Why should an artist, yourself, I'm talking to you out there that's thinking about doing this full time, that's wanting to take and grow your business, but you feel like on the fence, almost like, you know, you would be wrong to try to pursue any more financial, you know, restitution for your work, right? Any more compensation for that work, it feels like, ooh, it's dirty, right? The subject of money, it's dirty. You know, you're not supposed to make any money at this whole thing called art. I'm ranting. She's smiling.
Oh, yeah.
So I must be ranting.
No, you're good. I mean, yeah, we've definitely experienced this a lot.
We have, right? We have. And so especially, take it from me. Take it from me. I am a Christian blacksmithing company. You cannot know how many times that my faith or Jesus or the church or the starving orphans or whatever else has been brought up about me and my prices that I charge for my ironwork as a counter to, like, I must not be humble, or I just must be a wolf in sheep's clothing or something, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I charge appropriately for my ironwork. And I charge a price that I figure is fair for my time so I can feed my kids and feed my wife. Yeah. And Jessica, the hours, the untold hours that she puts in to the company at home. You know, I mean, this ain't easy to set up there, ladies and gents. This ain't easy. Neither is our business. Neither is answering over 4,000 emails a month. Emails and comments. We're over 4,000 right now. So that's not easy, right? That takes incredible amounts of time. But yet there's this stipulation that if you're an artist, you should be doing it for free. You should be just doing it for the love of art. And anything above just doing it for the love of art is a perversion of that love for the artistry. You have to get out of that mindset. Do not let anybody put you in that nice little square box that they want to keep you in. Because they're comfortable with going to a boss, griping about the boss. And I know some of you out there do it. I know you do. You're going to go in tomorrow and you're going to gripe about your boss. You're going to gripe about your boss that went to Tahiti over the weekend, right? Took a 2-day trip away. Even though he answered emails, he was probably talking to clients most of his day, right? He was working out some other arrangements and this and that, and had you calling him on the phone or your manager calling him on the phone saying Joe so-and-so didn't show up today, right? And he's stomping out fires, or she is stomping out fires. So again, right? But we get into this mode that, oh, well, it's better for you to go into work and you go work the regular 9 to 5. That's it. You know, you cut a paycheck. That's good, honest, clean work. And the second you move up from, say, middle class wage or lower class wage, if you will, there was a time that we didn't even make $18,000 a year. That was gross. That was gross. That wasn't our net income. That wasn't the amount we brought in. That was $18,000 gross doing this. Government assistance, everything, right, that you can think of. We were on WIC and almost on food stamps, but mainly just WIC. We grew a lot of vegetables in the garden. We did a lot of things. We could have been starving artists at that time. I guess you could have said. But, you know, so we've grown from there to last year we grossed just a little over $85,000 in our business. Again, we're the same people. There wasn't anything that changed there. My heart didn't change. I still love the craft. I still love doing the ironwork and the artwork, right? I still love taking and giving that to people and providing for those needs out there. The difference is I'm charging more appropriately now for my ironwork, and that is being able to do things like I'm allowed to have 3 children, right, that aren't impoverished, and I'm able to take and give them the same sort of lifestyle that anybody would want to take and give their kids. So this is near and dear to me because I get it all the time. Mm-hmm. So you're not alone. If you need a shoulder to cry on, they're big. I can take it. You can come cry on me anytime. But it is again, there's that line in your mind that you have to push past, that it is like you are somehow doing somebody wrong by charging or asking for what you need on the hour out of a piece. Because ultimately, there's going to be people who can afford your work, and there's people who are not going to be able to afford your work. It's called capitalism. I can't afford a Ferrari. Ferrari doesn't care. Ferrari doesn't care. They're not going to say, oh, Roy, shucks be the darn it. Well, here, we'll give you a whole entire Ferrari. I know the market value for the people who can afford Ferraris is like 150 grand. But for you, buddy, $500 out the door. No, I'll pay your taxes, your title, and all that other stuff.
You have some expensive insurance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we'll take care of your insurance because you can't afford that either. So there's just certain things that you can't afford in life, and so that's the next element here. Once you pass that mentality in your mind, okay, I've got to make at least $25 an hour for me to make this reasonable for my family, right? Now you say, okay, I got to make at least this much in the shop, say shop rate. That means you're going to come out of it with maybe $10 or $12 an hour, right? But you get to do what you love, right? It's going to be a humble income, but maybe that's what you can get out of that, and it will allow you to be able to take care of your family. It may not get you insurance because you're still going to be below poverty line here in America for that, but you're there, right? Like that's where you're at. Now you have to start looking at the items that you're selling. Mm-hmm. Am I going too far?
No, you're good. You're good.
Am I deep diving too much, ladies and gentlemen?
Graham had to run, so Graham, if you're leaving.
Graham, sorry, buddy. Sorry I ran it too much. Come back if you get a chance.
Roy's driving a Ferrari.
Oh, yeah. On the weekends.
That 05 Jeep, it's mesmerizing.
Yeah. Oh. Sorry if we missed a lot of comments. If you got a burning question or comment, just hit, @ or hashtag Roy and Jess if you need to get it answered. Again, we're definitely going down there. I'm just trying to take and share and inspire. Okay? Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to take and share and inspire here. And now I'm going to put this on the back element and back. I'm just bringing this back to one of the most important things in my life, and that's the big man upstairs. That's God. I couldn't have done any of this without Christ. Now, that's me, right? I'm talking about business. I'm talking about all these different things, so don't get it twisted that I'm somehow, popping my own collar, right? Like, that's not what this is about. This is my life story. It's true. It's just where it's at. It's where I was. It's what he brought me through. It's the mentalities and the mindset changes we had to undergo to get to the point that we are now, and you're going to have to do the same thing.
Yeah.
You can't give your stuff away. And it's going to make you feel real bad sometimes because somebody's going to be really in love. They're going to tell you that they're really in love with your work, but then you're going to tell it pricing to go, yeah, nope. I can't afford that. Such a shame. And they're going to make you feel like a heel, man. They're going to make you feel horrible about it.
Yeah.
Okay? But whether they did it on purpose, whether it was just their knee-jerk reaction to the price, you have a minimum that you have to charge in order to make a living wage.
Yeah.
Because you are being your own provider at that point. You're being your own boss, right? Mm-hmm. you're not going in and you're not getting all of that money and all that income from the boss for a certain set amount of hours. You know, you may not have all those hours. It might get dicey. You might have to save up in the good times and, you know, and then spend in the dry times, right? Because we've done that. We went through a little lull here for the last and we were able to get a bunch of YouTube videos. So we were always working, and we were always working every day to try to put out more video content. We were upping our live streaming gear when we didn't have any money coming in through our regular business. We were spending out of savings for that, and we were also spending a lot of money, a lot of support coming in from the super chats and things like that. Definitely went to a big way to pay for a lot of the live streaming gear and the things and the good quality that you guys get to see now. And so thank you for that. But the set behind us, that was all us, baby. You know, the lighting you see that's coming in, again, brand new computer, again, you know, that all came out of our pocketbook to take and do this because we believe in it. We believe in helping others out there, you know, be successful in their businesses. So just as a point of reference there, we did good. We did good the whole summer. I mean, I worked tirelessly, 90 plus hours a week. You know, just the days ran together.
Yeah.
The days just ran together. It felt like Sunday was gone in a poof, and I was right back into work on Monday, like as if it was like it didn't even happen, right? Like I didn't get a day off all summer last summer. And so we went through a little dry time after Christmas up till just this last month or so, and now I've sold out 8 months worth of work. So that was a big dry spell. Just a big dry spell. There was a few jobs here and there, but not like what we're used to, and not like the flood that we're getting now of orders and work. And so you do have to save up in your your good times for those dry times in business. So again, getting past that mental hurdle, you are not a starving artist. You are an artist, and you should be respected for your craft. You are an artisan. Now, how to get paid better for your craft. We're going to go into this. How to get paid better for your craft. If you're trying to take and make a six-figure income in your business, you're not going to get there with just $2 items. It's going to require a lot of $2 items, and if you were to break those up into time blocks across your day, how many 4-hour time blocks you can do or 2-hour time blocks, there's not enough hours in the day across an entire year for you personally to lay your hands on every single hook, to lay your hands on every single little piece of dice or whatever dice set that you're making or whatever it is that you're making, right? Excuse me. There's people that make, like, I don't know what they call them, oyster shuckers, oyster spoons, or oyster.
Something like that.
I don't know what they are. They're like oyster kniffs. I don't know. I think that's what they are. They're like oyster kniffs. They're meant to, I don't know, bring them up. There's people, they got like almost whole entire stores that were dedicated to that. They could not possibly make enough oyster kniffs to earn a six-figure income because they're just not a high enough dollar. They're not a high enough price point item.
Right. This is where, so for example, if you take the blacksmith's cheat sheet, if you've downloaded it, get a highlighter out and go through, and anywhere where I've written that any of the items sell for over $100, go through and highlight all of those, and then look at those in comparison to your skill level and see which ones of those that you would have the ability to make, and which ones would be, for that amount of money, which ones would be the least amount of time on your part to make. And there's also things like jigs and things like that that you could tool up for, but if you aim for the higher dollar items and have, you know, quite a few of those in your online store, that'll increase the chance that you'll start selling the higher dollar items on a regular basis.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to answer a couple of these questions real quick. This is a great point. It's a great point right here. There's been a lot of good ones. I'm sorry if we haven't got to them all. You guys are asking and we're ranting too much. But we're trying to sow as much good information in the short time that we have, trying to get it in here. But Lou Richards, you asked, Roy, you may have addressed this, but what is your take on discounts in general? So if they want a discount, send them to Walmart. If they want a BOGO, go send them somewhere else. You're an artist. You're a craftsperson. That item, just because they want a discount, didn't take you any less time. Mm-hmm. It didn't take you any less time. Ask them if they would take a discount on their labor for the day. They went in, they worked 8 hours, but you really only want to pay them for 3. See if that'll fly. It won't fly. So it shouldn't fly for you as well. It's a disrespect. It's a disrespect for what you do as a craftsperson. Now, say you have items. I've been known to liquidate items, like items I don't care about, items that have sat on the shelves for eons, and I'm not interested in selling them. They weren't really popular. They're not the best representation of my current ironworking skills. I usually just give those away, but back a few years ago, I would just put them as just a ridiculously dirt cheap price just to move them off the shelf, just to get rid of them. I conscientiously took a hit on that myself, but I didn't accept a discount. There was somebody who was wanting a discount on multiple items here recently, and the lowest I could go was 10% on that. And I did that basically what I was doing is covering the cost of shipping. Yeah. With that, just kind of covering the cost of what the shipping would be under there, because it was a large order that it was going to be of a very expensive item. And so I said, well, fine, I can try to do a little something. Hasn't been back.
Yeah, haven't been back yet.
Yeah, haven't been back yet. Might not. If they come back right now, I don't know if I can even fit them in this year. So, but that shows an example, though, of where I have done some of that. But when you're first getting started, you're going to feel like you need to take as many discs. You need to do buy one, get ones. You need to do all this other stuff. Do not get into a habit of doing that. That's no way to go for your business, and it just it disrespects you as an artist and a craftsman. They're asking you to take a hit on your daily pay rate, basically. Your hourly wage. They're saying, hey, picture them as a boss. They're asking you work 16 hours, but you know what? Time and a half really sucks to have to pay out. I'd rather not pay you time and a half. Are you good with that, Bill? Are you good with that, Lou? So don't do that. Don't do that. If you can keep from it. If, like I said, if you've got something, it's an overstocked item, or it's something that you just don't care to make anymore, and you're just trying to get rid of it just so you get a little bit of money out of it, recoup a little bit of time, then it's okay to throw some discount items like that. But I wouldn't make a BOGO or anything out of them. And
Justin Wells had a really good one there. If you had to start your entire blacksmithing business over again, what is one thing you would do differently? Probably say there's more than one thing, but
yeah. So first of all, I would move before I got kicked to move into doing the business. One of the things that I would have probably did earlier on is I would have took my business online. I would have took my business online very early on.
Photographs.
I would have invested in photographs. And probably one of the other things, I would have learned to price my ironwork more appropriately. I went through a stage where I was overpricing for my ironwork. I had heard big prices and big prices, and I was, hey, well, why not? I'm a blacksmith, right? But my work was nowhere close to being able to make that kind of money, and that was, my skill wasn't there yet, right? And so it was definitely shown in my work. My work just wasn't up to that standard yet to meet those $150 or $200 price points. It just wasn't. I wasn't there yet. So I would have priced more sensibly at the beginning. I would have focused more on again, production type items, trying to get into the smaller stuff, trying to get kind of niche industries going, things like that online. I would have probably tried to focus more into that at the time had I been privy to it. Now, we've been online a long time now. We've been at this a long time now. And so, that's probably what I would have done differently. I wasted a lot of time doing galleries and doing consignment shops, and I'd say wasted time. It's not really wasted time because now I have an experience with that then I can teach with. So I just see that as all part of the motions, you know, finding what works and what doesn't work. And that definitely didn't work. So if I had to redo my business again, I would have probably started there. But there's a bunch more different things, little small things I see now that I could be a lot further on about.
With the Forge, are there photos of the items in the cheat sheet or just text description? It's just text only.
Yep.
There's a written description describing the item and including stuff like, you know, if there's a specific type of metal it's made out of, I make mention of that, and also general dimensions for that type of item. I did have the recommendation that sketches or photographs would have been nice. I had photographs of some of the items because Roy's made them before, but not all. And so I didn't go down that route. It is all text only. But if you come across an item that you're not familiar with, if you do just Google, you know, like a hand-forged andiron or whatever, you know, you can Google that and see some images of other people's work, and that'll give you an idea of what it looks like in that way. But yes, the blacksmith cheat sheet, it has the descriptions and the pricing, the keywords, all of that for 50 different items. And all of them, they're all made for a small to medium blacksmith-sized shop, small to medium blacksmith shop. You know, and most of it doesn't even require much else than, like, you know, forge and anvil and hammer and that kind of thing. It doesn't require much specialized equipment to do it. So
yep, you can do it all at the hand, hammer, and anvil. So okay, so I want to go into I want to keep moving along here with the whole scaling thing. And I see some of your guys' comments. Corey Shire, you're a funny man. I like your response there. And good night, Loof, or is it Loof? I think it is Loof. Thank you for being here. You know, so I want to take and you know, go more onto the expanding your business. So I can only speak from like my own personal experiences, and so at that point, okay, at that point, now you've crossed over the threshold. You drank the crazy juice, you went over the thing. Now you're saying, hey, you know what? I'm actually worth getting paid $9.75 an hour while I'm in the shop, right? If the guy flopping whoppers can do it, I ought to be able to get paid that, right? Because I'm an artist, darn it, right? And I'm worth something. And we all don't want to go work at Mickey D's right now, right? But that's not what this stream's about. We're not trying to encourage you to go work at McDonald's. If you work there, great. But if you don't want to work there anymore, great too. That's what this stream's about. So sit down, hold on to your panties, kids. Oh, what we're going to talk about. Yeah, grab your pen and notebook. So now you've crossed over this threshold in your mind, and now you're trying to take and progress. And you know, how do you go about that? Now the thing comes into, you have to spend money to make money. Now that's going to sound, you can get that crooked, and people do. Don't spend somebody else's money in an effort to think that you're going to make money. Oftentimes it doesn't work out that way. And in fact, you just owe that person back and you have nothing to show for yourself. Because the clients weren't there, the timeline wasn't met, something happened in that way. So again, don't get this twisted. Please don't get this twisted. When it comes to spending money, I am talking about things that decrease your labor time at whatever the specific task is. We're going to keep this on point about forging for a second. So, as I said, my original bulwark, my original stuff that I was doing at this time. By the way, this is just all public knowledge. You're kind of getting a little behind the scenes kind of uptake of what we do on the back end, but you know, if you want to see how much I sell my copper work for now, you can go over to our website at ChristCenteredIronworks.com. You can go check out our full line of products that we offer there, and then, you know, again, get your eyeballs all big. Roy's crazy. Wow, overpriced. You'll have all these heart attack, heart palpitation moments here until you calm down and you realize what actually goes into each piece. So, which I've shared a little bit over the years right now on YouTube. I've shared some videos and some about my day and the polish work and some different things that I'm doing there. But, so, let's get into that a little deeper. So I had a really garbage buffer that was wore out probably a year before I even started doing copper work. I didn't have any tool. All I had was one swedge block It was steel, and I still have it. It's a great swedge block. I've made 10 times the money back out of that. But I had a kind of a size limitation that I could do. I kind of had a styling limitation. I was only doing certain kinds of styles.
I don't think you even had a shear.
And I didn't have a shear. I didn't have a way of cutting out copper effectively. I was using a pair of hand snips, right? I was using real thin copper because I had to use a pair of hand snips to cut it out. And so now let's fast forward, right? So I had really basic, and it took me per bowl. Whether it be a small little bowl or whether it be a big bowl. If it was a big bowl, you just double the cost of time. But say like a 6-inch round bowl that I had, it would take me up to an hour to get that thing polished. It was less scratched up, but it wasn't mirror finish, right? But it was shiny, so I just thought, well, shiny, right? It's kind of more of a matte finish, if you will. Hell, I've seen people do better on on grinders, with cleaning up work, right? And so when I did that, I was stuck at a certain price point for my work because there was other people that were doing copper vessels, bowls, utensils, like you see back here, you name it, stuff like that. They were just doing better work than I was, and so I didn't really feel like I would be appropriate to price myself above these other yahoos, right, that have worked hard at their craft to get it, more refined, right? But it was my tooling that was limiting me, and it was holding me back. So I could obtain, skill-wise, what those other guys were doing, but at an extreme cost of time. It was an extreme cost of time for me. So what that means is that made me very horribly inefficient to take and actually get the bowls out the door. And that, since it was very inefficient to put bowls out the door, there was only a limited amount of orders I could accept. Same thing, there was only so much other iron work I could accept at that time too. Because then I had to decide, well, do I want to do this bowl for XYZ dollar amount? And I think at that time it was like $30, like $35, I think it was. Do I want to do this for $35, or do I want to do this fire poker for $50? Right? I had a product line here. Fire poker, that was a random thing. It wasn't a really product line, but which one do I want to do? And so you'd have to choose. Okay, well, which one had which one had the bigger deadline? When can I get it done? Yada yada yada. And it was always this little bit of a shuffle back and forth, right? So that is limiting, right? So this is where I had to spend money. I had to spend money on my business. And now here's this little snippet of you have to spend money to make money. A lot of you right now are spending money on things that have no value towards your business whatsoever. You've got subscriptions to things you shouldn't have subscriptions to. You drive an extra 50 miles in a way maybe you don't have to. You pleasure boat, you have a boat, you have a fishing thing, a drinking habit, a smoking fix, whatever it may be. We all have those little things. My crutch, I liked soda pop back in the day. I just loved it. Pepsi, Coke, if it was dark and carbonated, I loved it. And I drank cases of it. And I was fat. So don't do that. Definitely not a recommended. But, I mean, that was like $5 a case. It was. But I'd pound one of those in a day, right? So I was losing money, and it was sucking away from the profits of my business. I'm not saying you can't have fun. I'm not saying don't feed your children, right? They still need to eat, but maybe they don't all need to eat steak, right? Maybe they don't need to eat all pork chops, right? Like, maybe you could buy some of the discount meat there so daddy can get a new buffer. So he can make more money so you can have steak someday. So this is, again, limit what it is that you're putting your money in that doesn't produce a profit. If it doesn't produce a profit for you, if it's not profitable, if you're not making at least 3 times your money back on that item, stop it. Stop the bleeding now. Because you can't get any forward movement as long as you're rolling backwards downhill. Can't do it. So these are, I hope you guys are writing this down. I hope this is striking some people and you guys are getting a lot out of this stream. I hope. Am I saying too much, Jess?
No, you're doing good. No.
Okay, good.
I was going to say, too, you could also...
I have to let her talk every now and then.
Yeah, get a word in edgewise. Another thing you could do is do a spring cleaning, or whatever time of year this happens, summer cleaning, and find unused items in your house and sell them on eBay. Or, if you have a hobby of something that you used to do but you don't do it anymore, can you sell that stuff on eBay or Craigslist or a garage sale, and you can turn things that are being unproductive and just kind of sitting around in your house, and you can turn that money and funnel it towards something that you do want to be productive at.
Yeah. So, and I just want to go ahead and address this. What the Forge, right now you're currently spending $200 to $300 on your shop per paycheck. You are going to have a very nice outfitted shop before you know it. You really will. And that is going to come back to you tenfold there, brother. It's going to come back to you tenfold. It may seem tough right now. It may seem tight right now. It's one of those things. It's just like, oh man, it's like, but I've got that tool. Bear through it. If you're spending money on the tools that you need in order for you to take and make things more efficiently, it will pay off in the long run.
You did that in heating and air conditioning. You'd buy a tool a week or a tool a paycheck to start because you had to supply your own tools.
Yep.
And it adds up over time. Yeah, it adds up over time, and that way
you're not taking out some big grandiose loan to get that one item that is the super tool that you'll actually never use, right? Like, oh, I'm going to get a surface grinder. Why? Well, I don't know. I don't have any other tools in my workshop, but logical thing, I'll buy the biggest tool I can get for $30,000. That it doesn't make sense. Surface grinders won't cost that much, but that's my point. I'm going to buy me a giant Bridgeport and CNC and all this other stuff, and you don't know the first thing about CNC machining. Bad purchase. Don't do that, right? You need to buy pertinent tools towards the work that you're doing that will speed up your efficiency. So this is where you got to spend money to make money. You have to spend money on efficiency items, stop spending money on things that are sucking away profits, and then by putting your money towards and doubling down on the things that are going to make you more and more and more efficient, that will pay back over time tenfold to you. Business is a long distance marathon. It is not a sprint. If it's a sprint, you're going to go, boom, crash. You're going to say, oh, I tried business, it didn't work. That's what you're going to do. You're like, well, I spent $60,000 and I got to account zero, right? After it was all said and done. And how long did you run your business for? 3 months. Just couldn't make it stick. You need to start planning that this is going to be something that you're going to be in for the next 30 years. And buy tools, buy equipment, take on jobs and business opportunities that support that goal and that effort. To be a lifetime business. Maybe something that you might pass down to your kids and your grandkids. So that is that next hurdle. You're spending money to make money. So with this, continue on my little story. I bought a very expensive buffer. $1,200. It takes and it eats through once a week, if I'm working on it, about $150 worth of consumables a week. It tears through. But I can go from maybe doing 2 or 3 bowl-like items or vessel items, polishing, cleaning up, surface finishing work. I can go from doing 3 of those a week to doing 15 of those a day. Big difference. Big difference. Now all of a sudden you can see, ooh, if I'm making $35 per one of these, but it takes me 3 days, right?
It's not a good rate.
There's 70, what's that, 70, 95 bucks, right? Is that right?
Oh. I'm sorry, I didn't hear. I thought you said you made one of them.
Yeah.
3 days.
No, if you made 3 of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you made 3 of them, it'd take you 3 days, like 1 a day, basically, right? So you make about $95 in 3 days' time, or you can make $95 in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Or 20 minutes, or an hour, or 2 hours time, or whatever that breaks up is per day for 15 of them, right? Mm-hmm. Which one would you rather do? Which one would you rather choose? Now you've got a good paying item, and you're doing it quickly. You didn't sacrifice on quality. That's the big key here. Because with a higher price that you're asking, your abilities and your quality standards have got to go up. They've got to go up. Mm-hmm. So now you're charging more. That means your consumables are going to cost you more. That means you've got to put out more ironwork. You've got to get that flow through, right? You got to get a certain amount of flow through, comfortable flow through. Mm-hmm. Just give you an example. Give me a second.
Okay, go ahead.
So, part of our price, we sell our 6-inch bowls for how much, Jess? I'm going to give this as an example.
$108.
So we sell them for $108, right? $108. They're made from 1/8-inch copper. They're 6 inches around. They start as a 6 1/4 inch blank. They get mirror finished. They usually get a coating of some kind, whatever the customer is wanting, whether it's what type of patina that we put out, right? And then we take and we put it in this type of shipping container. We pay a laser engraver to laser engrave our logos and make our cedar crates for us. This is what we ship our stuff with. It gets tied with a jute rope. Inside of it, there's put, whatever you call that stuff.
Shredded wood or Excelsior.
Yeah, wood Excelsior. By the way, Billy Strong, thank you. Yes, hit that like button, people. So we put this shredded wood, like wood Excelsior in here. We put handwritten cards if it's for somebody's special event or occasion. It gets tied with a jute rope with another handwritten card, and it gets put in a form-fitting box that we buy in bulk for this size crate. Mm-hmm. Very professional. It's not arriving in a diaper box.
No.
And so we almost break even at that $108 price point. Almost. On this one right here. Mm-hmm. Now our 8-inch, we actually make some profit on our 8-inch. We make profit on this one. You know, we're not selling it at cost. Mm-hmm. But we make profit on our 8-inch. Our 10-inch, we do even better. 12-inch bowls, 14-inch. I've done all the way up to 36-inch in diameter bowls, and those are custom jobs. Those are definitely not products that just sit on the shelf. 3-foot diameter of copper is going to cost you close to $700 to buy. Mm-hmm. Of 1/8-inch thick plate copper. So it's expensive. The material's expensive. The shipping's expensive. The quality they're getting is expensive. The asking price is expensive. Mm-hmm. So everything is elevated. Yeah. We're beyond hooks now. Selling hooks for $1 or $2. Mm-hmm. You could have just stuck it in a priority envelope or a first-class mailer and ship it. Barely even put any tape on it or anything, right? Season it in some oil and out the door it goes. So that is giving you an example of where we went. Our original shipping, we just, whatever box we could find, we put the bowl in there. We'd bubble wrap it. Right? Remember those?
Yes,
we'd bubble wrap it. Our ideal of a handwritten card was like thanks on the back of one of my business cards, taped to the front of the bubble wrap, right? And like, just like very, it just, you know, we weren't cultivating atmosphere. This is why we're after you guys all the time about your pictures on your website, cultivating an atmosphere, giving people your backstory, give people why they should care about you. Why should they care about supporting an artist? Why should they care about your art that you're offering them? What's your story? Who are you as a person? Let that come out. Unless you're a horrible human being, then be somebody different. And let that come out. But you gotta, you have to take and put, you have to put all that forward, right? Mm-hmm. As far as value goes. Okay? And this is different for everybody, what it is that you want to get into. Say you want to get into kniff making. Say you want to get into hammer making or tooling making for other smiths. All those are different market spaces and they require different price points. So say you're making hammers or say you're making tooling for other smiths. They might be in the same boat as you. They can't spend as much, but you know what? They might spend $60 on a pair of tongs because it's not worth it to them to take the time out to build a good set of tongs if they know that you're in the market and that you know how to make tongs. There's rookies and beginners that won't pay $20 for a pair of tongs. Like it's almost like you shoved a dirty sock in their mouth because you asked $20 for a pair of tongs, a functioning pair of tongs. So be prepared for some of that pushback too. You know, that's going to end up happening in business. But if they're really well made, they're a really nice set of tongs, you'll find that guy, kind of like me, who doesn't care to make his tools all the same time. Sometimes when I can buy, if I can buy it and I got the money for it, I'll just buy it. I'm going and buying tools tomorrow just for these jobs that I got. I'm not going to sit there and try to scratch my head and try to make some DIY project. I'm not wasting my time. I'm not getting paid to make tooling. I'm getting paid to make the items that have been bought from me. I'm not getting paid to make that type tooling or whatever, some DIY. No, I'm getting a chop saw is one of the things I'm getting. I'm not going to do a DIY chop saw. I'm just going to go buy a chop saw. Mm-hmm. Because I just happen to need one right now. Even though I've been going without one for a long time now. I just decided out of the whim, I'm just getting a chop saw. So don't put a lot of emphasis on that.
Surprise, surprise.
Yep, surprise, surprise, right? So that's how you increase your value. That's how you increase that value to the customer, that value proposition. Now you can start asking for more. You start asking for more.
Handmade DVDs in there and things like that.
Yep. There's items where we've actually shot films and DVDs, and we've put handmade DVDs of the forging process. So this way they know what they're doing. They get an action-packed box. Mm-hmm. They don't just get an item, they get an experience. So take these things, apply them to your own business as well. That's delved into the marketing side of things a little bit.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what that's starting to touch on. As far as the scaling portion of the business, you cannot scale up if you are limited by either your tooling, by your physical capabilities, or by your mentality. Those three things. You can't scale up. If you correct your mentality, your way of thinking, hey, I need to get a living wage here. Hey, I would really like to earn, about what my peers are getting, right? You say, hey, my physical abilities, I can't make 87 items a day. It's not possible for me, but I could handle doing 3 items a day, right? And then you need to get the tooling. Get above the tooling. That will allow you to make 3 items that are worth those 80 items that you can't do. And then charge appropriately. If you can do that, you do all those, it is a process of time from there on out. You have a good product, you're right at the right price in the market for it, you've upgraded your tooling to where you can do as many of these orders as you possibly humanly can in a day or you care to, you'll have a 6-figure business. That's with anything that you do. I don't care if you're an underwater basket weaver, if you're a welder, a fabricator, if you are into garden art, you're into sewing, quilting, regular basket weaving, clay, pottery, painting. I don't care who you are. I don't care where your skill level's at. You can all grow to become a 6-figure business. Mm-hmm. Yep. You all can. So let's take some questions real quick.
Sure.
I'll shut up now. My little rant there, laying it down heavy on you folks this evening.
I believe it was what the Forge was saying. He spends 4 to 6 hours a day forging, and that he can't wait till his skill level comes up to his drive. So I mean,
it's good.
With that many hours forging a day, your skills will increase pretty quickly.
Yeah, it will what the Forge. As long as you keep at it. It's a process of time.
What the Forge, I annoy my wife talking about blacksmithing.
Same here. Some days.
Jason Satterwhite says, I watch a lot of forging videos too. My wife calls it the pounding show. She walks in the living room. Now the pounding show again. LOL. Susan Ellis said, clearly she hasn't walked in on Roy and Jessica.
No, she ain't walked on Roy and Jessica yet. That's funny, Susan.
Susan Ellis, I totally got sucked into the live streams when Paul was watching. That's cool, though.
Cool.
It's like, gives you a talking point because you were both here.
Yeah, and we're glad to have you as part of the stream as well. So you know.
Yeah, it's funny watching the numbers on our analytics for our female viewers. It's been very low. It's doubled, I think, since we originally started. What was it, like 3% originally? Now it's 6%. So you're probably contributing to a large percentage.
It's actually at 9% now.
Oh, so that's
we have 9% female viewers.
That's amazing.
So you're watching a lot of our videos.
Yeah. Ben Toombs, I'm so sick of everybody asking. You must watch Forge and Fire. Yeah, we get that a lot. Like, I'm a blacksmith. Oh, like Forged on Fire?
Yeah.
I got the fire part and the hammer part right, but...
Yeah. That's a rant for another time.
That is. That's a rant for another time. With the forge, my wife just gives me a look when I start explaining the minute detail of what my projects entail. Gordon Family Forge, my daughter is 9 and got me into blacksmithing again. She wants me to make a claymore.
Well, there you go. Big ambitions. Big dreams. Mm-hmm. She's got the right stuff there, Gordon Family Forge. Got a gnat in my eye. Good to go.
Now's a good time. Yeah, let me, before the stream's over, just in case anybody has to run, let me run through our schedule for the next couple of weeks here so everybody's updated.
Yep.
So this Friday, July 6th, we are going to have our forging live stream as usual.
Yep.
Roy's going to be forge welding the cheeks.
I'm going to be forge welding on at least one of the hammer faces. I probably won't get to doing both. It'll probably just be the one hammer face on there. On our wrought iron hammer build. Yep.
And then our next Monday night live stream, which is going to be Monday, July 9th, we're doing a special YouTube related live stream. So this will be anybody who has a YouTube channel or who is interested in getting into YouTube. Make sure you attend that one and bring all your questions. We've done a live stream kind of like this, I think, when we passed 10,000 subscribers or something. So it's been a while, and I know we've got a lot more smaller channels that like to attend like the forging live stream and stuff like that. And so, you know, we're gonna help you out with all your questions you have related to YouTube, and we'll also use some of the YouTube tools that we use and kind of give you a little bit of a behind the scenes look as far as that. So that'll be next Monday.
Yep.
So then the Friday the 13th, Friday, July 13th, we are not going to have a forging live stream.
Nope, I will be at RABA. I am the conference demonstrator this year, so I will be up in northeastern Ohio during that time period. So unfortunately, it'll just be me, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. The family and all that's going to still be here, huh? Yep. Stuck here.
I'm not taking over for you, though. I'm not taking over the forging live stream.
Yeah, she's not taking over the forging live stream. So
press the button and snug it back out there.
Yeah, but I'll be at the Rabber conference. If anybody wants to come see me up there, it's in Burton Century Village in Burton, Ohio. So come check it out if you happen to be up in the Northways. So there won't be a Friday night live stream.
And
then the following Monday,
July 16th. There will also not be a live stream that Monday because he'll be returning from his trip. So the next live stream that we will do then will be the Friday, July 20th. We will resume as usual and hopefully get the other hammer face welded on. So, yep. Yeah, me too. North Country Forge, Roy and Jess, maybe you covered this tonight. I have my biggest show coming up in August 3rd.
August 3rd. Yep.
Okay.
3 days.
Do you have any recommendation on do's and don'ts for the vending side of business?
Okay. Yes, we've got plenty. I think we've probably covered these in past streams, but go ahead and do it again. So
sure.
So do's and don'ts. So you're going to be going to the biggest show. I'm assuming if you're demonstrating, you need to make it safe. You need to coordinate with the organizers to have some safety cones put up, some police tape or whatever. Create yourself a safe place. If you can have somebody extra go with you to the show to watch the table while you demonstrate, that's optimum.
Yes.
That way you can keep the music of the anvil roaring while the sales are going off the table. That's usually the best way. If it's just a sit, meet and greet thing, you want to dress fairly snappy. Don't go over the top. I mean, you don't need to look like $1 million because then people kind of stray away from that. You know, but you want to dress appropriate. You want to dress appropriate for the show. And then it's always good to sit at the end of a table, not directly confrontational. You don't want to be right in the middle.
What you doing?
Yeah, what you doing? You know, let people look at the table for a little bit before you engage with them. Again, try to create an atmosphere if you can. We've mentioned before, table height of items on your table. Don't display things flat. This box would look incredibly dull like that. It's better like that. It's even better like that. So if it's sitting at an angle, that's okay. It's a good viewing angle. If it's like that, it's ugly.
Yep.
You know, nobody wants that. So try to get your items where they're stacked up, either on some books with a little tablecloth over it or whatever, to get some height and dimension.
Also use a floor-length tablecloth. That way you can store extra boxes and extra merchandise or whatever underneath your table. And some of the favorite items that people have liked to touch when we've done them is kids like dice. So if you have big metal dice, they love to pick them up and just roll them across the table. Another one is if you've ever made a rasp asp. People really enjoy looking at that, and bring along a plain farrier's rasp as well, and you can explain to them how it was made from the farrier's rasp. It's a really good way of interacting with people. And additionally, another one you can do is a hand-forged rose, and put a few drops of rose oil inside of it on a piece of felt, like black felt, so it blends in, and then people can come along and look at that and you say, pick it up, it actually smells like a rose. Yeah. And so those are 3 items as far as engaging with people that really that we've noticed when we've done shows and vendors. Don't
be overly interested in just throwing a business card to everybody who walks by. They'll take all 500 of your Vistaprint business cards and you won't get one return sell. So, only give out those if people are interested in them. Some people, they'll do that as a social courtesy. It's like, oh, I talked to you for like 2 whole minutes. I guess I'll pretend like I'm interested. And they go right around and it's in the can, right? So put your business cards back a little bit. Don't make an emphasis on that. If you get to talking and you're really striking up a conversation, someone's talking about maybe some custom work or something, then go for the business card and you make the point to give them the business card and say, hey, if you got a brochure printed out, anytime you want to contact me about something in the future, just let me know. And enjoy looking around. Hope you have a great rest of your festival or whatever. So those are just some quick advice details there.
And sometimes people are even interested in taking classes from you at those type of events. They want to learn forging themselves. So
yeah, it's all right. Slowed down. So somebody had said, I think it was Coffee's Forge. He said Jessica needs to do some forging.
Yeah, it'd be the highest view.
And that would be some really good numbers. So oh, he said I'll be demonstrating and selling. Okay, good. Oh, yeah. So that's basically it. Do's and don'ts on that. Don't let anybody in your forging area. I don't care for what reason. Just assume it like it's a blacksmith shop and like everything's like nuclear DEFCON 4. Everything's hot. Don't touch. Right? Kind of things. Those are just the general no-nos and some of the go-go's for you. Yep. All right. So, yeah. Oh, what the Forge said. 9% of 23,000 subs is over 2,000 females that are subbed. That little 9% sounds a lot bigger now, huh?
Yeah.
Yep, it is.
Yeah, it does.
It's a lot.
Jason Satterwhite, I just got back from a week-long blacksmithing workshop, and at the end of each day, I try to explain to my wife the techniques I was learning, and her eyes just glazed over. That happens to me sometimes after too long.
Not sometimes. That happens to her on the daily. Well, I get to talking about everything that's in here that I need to do, and she's like, okay, that's great, Roy. Now go away. No.
It's cool you got to take a blacksmithing class. I mean, those really do help shave a couple of years off the learning curve when you can get the knowledge and the input from an experienced instructor.
Yeah. And Jason sounded right. There is nothing wrong with learning from a bladesmith. Learn from as many smiths as you can. I saw your earlier one talking about the bladesmith that you study under. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm very touched that you have learned, or that you've said that you've learned more from watching me. I appreciate that. I take that as a mark of pride. Thank you, sir. But yeah, you have to take and learn from as many people as you can. Keep your mind open. I have buddies that are knife makers or knife smiths, and I listen to them when it comes to different things. Sometimes they bore me horribly, and so therefore I kind of block them out after a while. But but I do genuinely try to listen, and it's cool that they're excited about blades, although I may not be. But there's always something, a little inkling of something that you can pick up, because where they may have to overcome a particular thing when it comes to edge geometry, or maybe gluing on a handle to something, or who knows what else bladesmiths do, right? Fitting things up, and maybe they have a special jig or a special way they stand at the grinder that allows them to be more stable, and things like that. You can pick up so much from just even a different variant of the craft. So it's definitely worth doing it, even if it's not technically your thing. So, Billy Martin, hello. Good to have you here, sir.
So, depending on how much further you'd like to go, I think I have another topic or another point that would make perhaps a really good one to finish off with the topic points we're talking about for the subject. And it is the topic of where you are wanting to go as a blacksmith personally. Now, there's two different main paths you can take as a blacksmith, and Roy's it's kind of been a struggle. I'll let you talk about it in a little bit. But, as a blacksmith, you can become an artisan and really go down the artisan road and do everything yourself. You want everything to be handcrafted by you. You want to become very skilled and do very elaborate pieces. That's one path you can take. And then there's another path you can take, and that's where it's more of a business approach. It's where you hire employees, and it's about production, and it's, you spend less time forging necessarily and more time managing people, perhaps coming up with new products and things like that, but you're more of a businessman in that sense. Now, somebody mentioned earlier in this stream, they were asking, Roy, 8 months booked out, perhaps you need to hire some other people, or you need to expand your shop to help manage the workflow. And so I'm going to let you talk about what your thought process is in that, and kind of like choosing which of the two paths for you you've decided to go with.
Yeah. And I will here in a second. Okay. Corey Shire, he said, Jessica, when will we see you back in the shop and forging stuff again? Well, most likely it won't be until the winter or early spring. Right now I'm just too slammed. I can't have extra pupils or anything in the shop currently. So this is great. This is a great thing, and it's near and dear to my heart. Try not to rant too much about it because it's something that's real personal to me. I don't have to be the wealthiest man in the world. I don't have to be the best artist in the world. I want to be very influential with my work. The purpose behind what I do means more to me than what it is, right? So say that item, if you will. I'm not interested so much in the money. I'm not concerned with that as much. I've basically been a blue-collar worker my entire life. I have had it in my mindset for the longest that I am going to die sweating, right? Like, that's it. I've gonna, earn it from the sweat of my brow. And so, as far as the money aspect, and just like, I'm gonna be a rich Mr. Roy, right? And have like millions upon millions of dollars. Sure, that would be nice. I hope to be able to do that someday, but more in the way of that I can be excessively giving, because I see a lot of areas that I can always give back, right? And so that's where the impact means more to me. And so my ironwork that I want to personally get into and the stuff that inspires me the most is the things that invoke emotion and thought. And the work that I want to progress towards requires a lot of skill. It requires a high degree of skill and not laborers. It doesn't require other guys' skills. It requires this guy to get the skills that he needs to become masterful enough that I can make those things that I believe God has designed and put on my heart to make as pieces of inspiration, things that are going to outlive me, and create and invoke thought process. In the meanwhile, doing YouTube. I would not be doing YouTube. I would not be doing the extra hours and the extra effort that it takes to do YouTube. And this is me being 100% candid to you. It doesn't line up. If I spent that extra 30 hours on my business, 6+ figures easy. Well over 6 figures. Well, 6 figures somewhere in the realm of anywhere between $100,000 and $999,000. I'd be somewhere in that range. I could probably do employees. I could have some fab shops. I've turned down $30,000 and $40,000 jobs just because I was not interested in bringing on other people. I was not interested in trying to find a new shop location that I would have to take and pay exorbitant rent prices and getting a lot of overhead and getting all that figured out. I've turned down work because of that. So, like YouTube. So here's the thing with YouTube. I have an impact. I believe I have a positive influence. I believe I'm influencing that next generation of Smith or the current generations of Smiths to think outside the box, to do more with your time on this planet, to actually care about your fellow man, to help that brother that's struggling in something and not keep clamped up into yourself about it and say, oh, well, it sucks for that guy, right? Like, I feel like I have impact. I feel like I have a voice here. I feel like I can add value to the blacksmithing community as a whole. I can give back, right? Mm-hmm. And so for me, that's what makes that worth it. Mm-hmm. So it's being influential, having that influence and that impact on the people around me is what I personally care about. Now, that may not make me a very wealthy man, or it may make me an extremely wealthy man. I put that in the hands of God. Either way, I'm going to use that to whatever wealth I may obtain. Whether it's my 6-figure income plus someday, maybe it's a 7-figure incomes in our future. Who knows? We work hard enough for it. Maybe we'll get there someday. Irrelevant to the point. Whatever that is, I hope to be influential. I hope to help somebody out. I hope somebody can say of me someday when I'm that old gray-headed man that looks all shriveled up and weak in the corner that's visiting an Abana conference or, visiting a sofa, right? Like conference or something like that, a quad state, another one, right? And I'm that little shriveled up dude in the corner telling my big yarns sitting on the lyre bench right next to the rest of them. That I'll have a tip of hat of respect. I'll have that thing where people say, hey, you know what, that Roy Adams, man, he really helped me out. I got started in this when I started watching him on YouTube, and now I've got a 6-figure income. My life couldn't be better. I love what I do. I worked on, the National Cathedral's railings, or I did whatever. You go on and you do these great things, and you can attribute that to something maybe that I had said, or maybe a tooling technique or a tip that I gave you. Earlier on when I started this channel, and I know I'm just being real with you all right now, and this is, ranting, I guess you could say, but early on when I started this YouTube channel, I really started it, and the reason why my videos took so long is I felt a need to tell people about the Smiths and the techniques and the tips and the tricks that I learned from people that had great impact in my life, right? That had great impact on my smithing, and they sculpted, right? And so I tell a story with everything. Like, oh, well, I'm punching this way because years ago in Wayne Apgar's class, he showed me this, and let me tell you this story, right? Just kind of like a good old boy thing. And then, oh man, got slapped hard on that one, you know. People on YouTube don't care a lot of times about that. They don't care that you're a good old boy. That's great if you're hanging out with somebody on the weekend, right? But that's not necessarily good for an instructional video.
Yeah.
Makes you boring, right? Mm-hmm. I'm very colorful person if you get to meet me in person, right? Mm-hmm. I really am, don't I? I love telling 1,000 stories. I love that. And as you can tell with some of my rants, I talk. And I can go on and on and on and on. I'm passionate about what I do. And I'm passionate about telling other people about the people who've made marks on my life, who have helped me along in the craft, who've done things like Bob Cruikshank. You know, he's always dealt fairly with me and given me ridiculously cheap pricing on very expensive tooling otherwise. That pipe threader, I bought it from a guy by the name of Honest Bob Cruikshank, right? Mm-hmm. So, I bought it from him. Like, as long as I have that threader, or as long as I have a memory that I can take and put out there, I will talk about him forever. He's leaving a legacy behind him, whether he knows it or not. He's an older man. He doesn't do a whole lot of smithing anymore, you know, but he's always treated me squarely and fairly. And, you know, if you want to meet him at Quad State and tell him Roy sent you, and that he speaks very highly of you know, good old Bob Cruikshank. Mm-hmm. You know, so he's an ornery cuss. You can watch out on him a little bit, but you know, that is where you have to make that kind of decision for yourself. I wouldn't be at any of that if I would have stuck with heating and air conditioning. I wouldn't be able to do things that I thought that had matter or that had weight. I would not be able to have the income that we have now if, you know, there was not that blessing of God over the business. But if I wouldn't have said yes, right? If I wouldn't have went out there and went after it, and, you know, wouldn't be able to have this impact right now like what we have, I'm hoping we are having on YouTube. I don't know.
I got a few comments on it.
You know, if wouldn't have took a hit personally to time, effort, and finances to do YouTube, there wouldn't be that opportunity to have that kind of impact. There might be some, a little bit on a local level. I've always helped guys out. I don't really brag about that a whole lot. You know, I've helped people start up their shops. I've given away scads of tooling, of my own tooling. I've given away tons of like free classes and you name it, and people who wanted to just come work with me for a day and stuff. And they always leave with something, right? Like, I just don't feel right about them being in my shop, even though technically they're taking my time. Technically, I'm not getting any work done, but I love it. I just love it. I love inspiring somebody else to go out and do big things in this craft. So, again, you have to decide for yourself what it is that you want in life and go out there and get it. You know, I was asked a lot earlier in the stream, you know, how do you make, you know, I was talking about the pastor saying that, you know, you should give your hopes and dreams and stuff to God, right? One of those sort of things. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like I don't know, almost seemed like it was kind of like pass the buck kind of thing. I believe those hopes and dreams are implanted in you for a reason, and it's up to you to get off your lazy butt and get out there and do the work. It's not up to God to make everything great and give you $1 billion tomorrow, right? And like, you're going to be some big philanthropist if you can't stop and give a guy, a homeless man, $2 on the street corner, right? Like, if you're not going to do that, you're not going to give away $1 million. Know what I'm saying? It's not going to happen. You got to be faithful in the small things for him to make you ruler over more. And so, you know, there again, I think dreams and I think things like this, they're inspired for you to do, and you just have to have enough faith and enough gall to go against what would be considered a cultural norm, like getting employees, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I got 8 months backlogged work, right? Got 8 months worth. Praise God for every ounce of it. So what, I'm working 90 hours a week from here on out. I'll keep working 90 hours a week until he stops, buddy. Send in the rain, baby. My cup runneth over. And hopefully it'll have the trickle-down effect I'll have a lot of cool videos. I'll have a lot of business tips to show along the way. Hopefully I'll have a lot of trials. Hopefully I'll have a lot of errors. Hopefully I'll have a lot of successes, things like that, because then I can impart that wisdom hopefully on somebody else who's struggling with maybe the same exact thing I just happened to go through maybe 6 months ago or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, basically. Rant over, I guess. Mic drop. So, sorry everybody, but sorry not sorry. And I did see Big Dog Forge there. God bless you, Tim. Thank you for being in the house tonight. Anybody who doesn't know Tim at Big Dog Forge, which I'm pretty sure everybody in the stream does, but if you don't, you're living under a rock. You need to go over and visit Tim over at Big Dog Forge. Great guy. Appreciate his streams, although we've been going to church quite a bit here lately. We got a new pastor at our church, so we've been giving him a shot and trying him out. So we haven't been able to stick around for the lives because our church schedule kind of conflicts with Tim's live stream, but that's all right. I'd never give anything away for free, lol. That's funny. Alright, don't know where we're at.
Let's see. Billy Martin. You do get me out to try more, so one person at least.
Well, good to know, Billy Martin. I'm glad I got at least one person out there working away.
With the Forge, you do have a real impact, Roy. I honestly say I've learned more from you than anyone else I've interacted with in this craft so far.
Thank you, What the Forge. Thank you. There's a lot of great smiths out there. There's a lot of great guys out there on different blacksmithing channels that are putting a lot of effort out there, to teach. And if there is some monetary gain to be had at it, so what? I mean, there should be some sort of monetary gain. But gangbusters, it's not like you're making millions of dollars. It's one of those things that anybody who will take the time to teach. Blacksmithing for a long time has been steeped in tradition of, you kind of keep your money to yourself, right? Like you kind of keep your business to yourself, because if you talk about, well, somebody might come in and undercut you, right? Mm-hmm. Got to be careful with that, right? You got to, who knows? Somebody might get in there, and they might rob away all your orders and things like that. And, well, I'm glad to say a lot of people are finally loosening up on that. They're loosening up on that. The thing's really, interesting thing about blacksmiths, we are all starting to loosen up and help one another out, and that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. To get that knowledge that's shared and that can be passed down to actually make this a viable craft in another 100 years is absolutely amazing. We probably won't even be using coal in another 100 years, right? Maybe that'd be a travesty for most folks. But maybe all we're using is induction forges at that time. Well, you know what? There's going to need to be some old coots like me, and some people are in the stream right now that'll outlive me, right? Some of these 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds that watch the channel, they'll outlive me 100 years from now, right? They'll be saying, oh, back in the day, there's that guy on YouTube. What's YouTube, right? I mean,
yeah, it'll be
right?
else by then for sure.
But hopefully it'll still be around by the efforts of people like John Switzer and Tim at Big Dog Forge and Daniel Moss at Trusting a Blacksmith and gosh, there's just so many. Joey Van Diersteg, I probably butchered his name. Taborgom, or I think Taborg, I don't know how you call him. Alex Steele, Purgatory Armor, somewhere. Somebody inspired somebody. As I say, we can't all be the flavor of the day, right? Like, there's always somebody else that, maybe somebody's flavored a little better than me.
Mm-hmm. So. Tim asks, what is our biggest sales platform?
Tim, our biggest sales platform right now, currently, or has been in the past, was our Etsy store.
It still is, yeah.
It still is mostly. It's running about neck and neck with our personal website now that we have built that up over the past 2 years. So. Yep. Don't know what North Country Forge said, but hopefully it says something exciting. Good.
Yeah. think we're caught up in comments here.
Are we all caught up? Cool.
So, yeah.
Cool. So, yeah, well, good to have everybody here. So, yeah, and there's a real quick thing I want to say about that a little bit, about comment sections and things like that on YouTube. Now, you get the occasional person that is not of the blacksmithing camaraderie thing. They're not part of the brotherhood. They're not part of the family. It's just a random person that really doesn't know anything. They basically just come in and troll you, right? They're just in there for no good. They opened up YouTube just to troll as many people as they can, right? So there are those types in there. But shockingly enough, there's also a lot of people that are on YouTube that you go from, say, my channel. You like what I teach, you like what I teach, my particular method or whatever, and then let's say you go over and you troll somebody else like Tim at Big Dog Forge. Mm-hmm. Just because he has a different opinion maybe than what I do, or maybe he has a different experience level that maybe I haven't come up to yet. Maybe I'm dead wrong, maybe he's right? Not saying there's any conflict like that, but there's a lot of that goes around with like the larger YouTubers. A lot of the things that you'll hear is like, well, didn't Joey Van Deerstig already do a video on that? Almost like you're copying, right? Like you're copying catting. Blacksmiths have been copycatting for the last 12,000 years of human existence, at least. And that's at least writable, right? Yeah. And so what I would love to see out of the blacksmithing community is, instead of trashing other smiths in other people's comment sections, I've been personally trashed in other people's comment sections, which is just funny. Mm-hmm. Some people, again, we can't all be the flavor of the day, right? But at least you don't have to take and smear Rocky Road in somebody else's comment section, right? Just because you like mint chip. Talking about ice cream, because it's ice cream.
That's your favorite flavor.
Yeah,
your mint chip?
but you got to remember that even though you have a screen presence and it's an icon, and this is just a word of warning to everybody out there, just because you have a screen icon doesn't mean you won't meet me someday at a blacksmithing conference. Doesn't mean that I won't be your demonstrator someday. I plan on being around a very long time. As I'm sure Tim, as I'm sure John, as I'm sure Alec, as I'm sure every blacksmith that's currently on YouTube or has ever been on YouTube or who has ever been and tried to instruct or explain or help other people out in a Facebook chat forum or things like that. Chances are we are a small enough group and community. It's almost like telling, your aunt that you hate your Uncle Bob. Mm-hmm. Right? Eventually Uncle Bob's going to find out. Mm-hmm. So watch what you say out there. Try to always be encouraging if you can. If you have nothing nice to say, zip it. Because chances are I'm out there in the comment sections.
North Country Forge. Why? How can anybody trash you? You're an awesome guy.
There's some people who don't think so. I'm definitely not everybody's flavor and cup of tea.
Don't like that mention.
And I'm personally okay with that. I'm a rockhead. I'm a thickhead. I'm prone to violent outbursts of my ranting, and
yeah.
Right, like I'm doing currently. It's just kind of like an under the breath kind of rant. But the reason why I brought that up is not only does it it bug me personally, it kind of bugs me for other people. And instead of just doing a video where I make my channel now about ranting and talking about all the bad stuff, right, that's going out there, I figure the people that I can make a change for 34 people who are watching here. For you to be careful not to go into somebody else's comments and saying, yeah, Alex Steele, don't like the guy, too fuzzy a hair, whatever, sell out. I've heard 1,000 different things from well-meaning people. Just because you have an opinion, maybe that opinion might come back to haunt you, because once you put it out there, once you put it out in your comment sections, once you put it out there online, it's kind of out there, it's kind of stated, and your heart may change. Your heart may change. You might say, hey, you know what? No, that Alec guy, he's a real square kid. You know what I mean? He's a real good guy. after you've gotten some more data about that person. You've got some more information. So be real careful. Be real careful with the words that you say in people's comment sections out there and around the block. I haven't lost too many people, so apparently most people agree with me.
Coffee's forward. Can't believe you have 2 thumbs down on your live feed.
Yeah.
See, there's those 2 people.
Sorry. Thanks for the engagement.
That's less than 10%, so we're good.
Yeah. And I want to talk to Tim too. Yeah. Yeah. And this happened literally in Tim's thing. He, again, he just got a troll. Yeah, you're very welcome, Tim. You deserve to be stood up for because, you have a life, man. I mean, you have a life and you're taking away from that life. You're taking away from that precious thing we all have. It's called time, right? That we can never get any back. To take and teach and instruct people and to put out a video and to try to make it entertaining enough that it's not a snooze fest, right? Hi, I'm Tim. This is a chain. You take the chain, you put it in the forge, you heat the chain, right? Like if you've ever done any sort of trade whatsoever, you've had to sit through a very boring technical video at some point in time in your life, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is a screwdriver. We take the screwdriver and turn it, quarter turn to the left. Remember, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. Unless you're in Australia, then it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Get it? I just did it the opposite way. Sorry, there was a little small humor there. You didn't hear it, did it?
No, I didn't.
I just restated it, but just in reverse.
The opposite way.
Yeah. Anyways, haha. Okay, really's not that funny, but anyways, yeah. So you have to take again. Watch your words when you're going around. We are a small community. We are a small community of blacksmiths. We're meant to be a brotherhood. We have sisters in this craft. Derogatory remarks towards women, things like that stuff just can't be tolerated. Derogatory remarks towards people that are taking time and effort to teach you and instruct you. If you see somebody doing that in somebody else's comment section, you really need to take and do whatever you can to try to uplift that person in their comment section. Because I could tell you, when you get, like we did, we got back from vacation, the portal of sin, hit. Everybody's emails started blinging in. We were out of email communication, and there were just scads of people with negativity and different things like that. And you come back to this, and you're just like, why am I here? Right? Like, why do I do this for? Right? And anybody can fall prey to that, and then you might just miss how good that person actually was. That was their, they were, maybe you like to see them struggle, and they were like your Tuesday evening chuckle, right? But then you made that one statement where you just had to bash that guy, and he, just, your words, they have weight. They have weight in this life, and you've got to be very careful with them, even when you're online. Because people see you, eventually screen names get comped out. I know there's people at my blacksmithing club that dislike me. I can see it written all over their faces. The difference is I'm a man about it. I can tell you I dislike you. Straight to your face. Have no problem. No problem. I don't have any tolerance for spineless weasels that go around people's backs. Don't have any tolerance whatsoever. So, let that be a word of the wise, word of caution. My little rant's over on that. But and some awesome rants, it says. What are you saying? So?
North Country Forge, those are the type of people that do nothing but sit on their computer. Let's see. Oh, you moved on me.
No, right.
That more are likely bought them and just trying to
people off. I just
like the human race more and more every day. We actually watched a video last night, and it was hilarious. It's about this guy who goes around trolling the Yahoo comment section on articles. And but
he does it in a positive trolling way. He doesn't he's not vicious or vindictive or mean. It's like witty. he'll be something like somebody's making like somebody's like slicing a tomato. He's like he's like tomatoes have been the downfall of the human race ever since whatever time period. And people are like, that is literally the dumbest thing you could have ever said. And then he's come something else with sharpening knives on stones is not the way to go, or something. Again, he does like trolling just for a joke, but yeah, people are laughing at my spineless weasels thing. So.
Ben Toombs, I don't think your rant is ever over. It's just you have to take a breath every once in a while. That might be the way to describe it there.
Yeah. Oh. And sorry, Tim, you had to take and block somebody there the other day. So.
Jennifer Grow, I wanted to answer your question.
Sorry we didn't answer it, my rant.
You asked, can we ever make small keychains so that you can buy some of our work, can't afford bigger pieces? I actually have a whole pile of smaller items that I haven't got up online, and I'm actually going to do a vlog of like a day in the life of an Etsy seller when I go to post them. So it'll be... we'll end up doing a Etsy live stream sometime during the summer, specifically on Etsy. But yeah, that'll be tied around to the same time frame when you see that video or that live stream. So yeah, because we do have. If I get a little bit of time and we don't have a keychain up there, I'll make you one, Jennifer Grow. How's that sound? I just ship it to you free of charge. Good enough? Spencer Coots, pregnant. Am I pregnant? I don't know what he's saying. Maybe he's referring to something else.
Yep. Good. Yeah. So we've been at this about 2 hours. It's usually when we get off the live stream.
We were trying to cut it shorter.
Yeah, we're trying to cut it short. Hopefully, I've imparted enough information out there that you feel like you're ready to move on. We can always go over this in another business live stream for sure. We won't be doing it on the next Monday. We'll do a special YouTube business live stream on that one. But S&S Smithing, how much have I missed? A lot of ranting. So yeah, I try not to rant. I try to rant in a positive way or something that is uplifting and encouraging. I've been trying to reduce the amount of Roy rant videos that I do, just because I don't want my channel to come about Roy always sodding off about something, right? Like, I don't want that to be the purpose of our channel. I want to be able to grow this channel in a healthy and mature way, and one day I hope to be as cool of a dude as like John Switzer at Black Bear Forge. Like, that guy, like, man, he's old salt. He's got the wisdom. So is Tim. So is Tim at Big Dog Forge. Like, you guys are awesome. Like, I don't know, maybe you all like throw stuff and cuss in the background, when the camera is off rolling or something, but you guys handle stuff like gentlemen, like perfect gentlemen and scholars. And I'm like, oh, I wish I was that wise. Maybe one day I will be. No, there's not high chances here just yet, but that's one of those things that I hoped to obtain to one day.
North Country Forge, speaking of Etsy, is there a way to change your shop name? Yes, they allow you to do it once. So make sure you're happy with the shop name that you're changing it to. But it's somewhere in the settings under your shop. Nothing wrong with a bit of venting, says S&S Smithing.
Yeah. Nothing's wrong with that every now and then from time to time. So. What? Yeah, usually when I do any sort of that venting, again, it's meant to be in a growth standpoint, because let's face it, a lot of YouTube is sensationalized. A lot of this platform, if you go click off of your general feed and go to trending, it's just absolute trash. And if there's a YouTube person or bot watching that, your trending page is trash. You need to have creators like Alex Steele. You need to have creators, people that are teaching science and people that are teaching encouragement and positivity, and you need to have blacksmithing and crafting channels, and you need to have all sorts of good stuff out there. Start practicing what you preach in your policy and your guideline sections, and not putting trash and smut on the trending section. So I hope you're listening, YouTube, and if you are, I hope you'll take this and put it in your pipe and smoke it. But that's my last little rant there. We'll do that last little rant. But again, we're blacksmiths. We are a family. We're a family of blacksmiths. We're around one goal, right? We're around a common interest. And that's what we should be about. There's 1.5 billion ways to do the same thing, and if you don't believe me, just ask 1.5 billion different blacksmiths. I guarantee you'll get 1.5 billion more different ways out of each one of them to do one thing. So, I'll shut up. Hopefully everybody liked their stuff. What do you say? What big dog horse?
Not wise, just got it out of my system in my younger years.
Tim was busy straight up cold cocking people left and right. You and John Switzer must both been pretty brawlers or something back in the day, because you definitely got it out of your system. So maybe one day when I'm old, and you're not that old, but maybe one day when this guy is old and gray-headed, I'm gonna get a monocle.
Is that what it is?
I'm just gonna get a monocle. Do you think a monocle would make me more wise?
Make me more interesting.
Would it make me more interesting?
More colorful, right? Yeah.
Everybody's got to have a persona, right? I'd be like that cute little old shriveled dude with the monocle. That's how you'll know to find me.
You'll know it's Roy.
Yeah, you won't know it's Roy. Well, all you got to do is look for Mr. Monopoly sitting in the corner.
A top hat, too.
on the top hat. I'll tell people how back in my younger day, I passed go. I collect $200 a day. Cool. So, all right. Well, that's it for tonight.
Yep.
I think we'll end it here.
Yes.
Yep.
And Friday, Forging live stream.
Yep.
And next Monday, 7 days from now, will be our YouTube related live stream. So if you have a channel or you're interested in YouTube stuff, come along.
Yeah. And so, since we're sending you all out into this brave old world, all 32 of you, go spread some love. Go spread some love out there in some other people's channels, some people that need encouragement, much needed encouragement, especially in the day and the age that we live in. And, again, thank you all so much for taking 2 hours of your time to be here in this stream tonight. Share it around with friends. Anybody who wants to watch it on the replay, if you found it helpful or encouraging, we hope that you do that. We do appreciate everybody who super chatted this evening. Make sure everybody give them a good hand clap of praise as you go, and we also ask that you all have a absolutely wonderful 4th of July. Remember all those people that have served, all the brave men and women that are currently serving this 4th of July, and take some time out for that. Maybe a moment of silence in your day around the grill or whatever else you're doing with that day. I most likely will be working, so. but that's me. That doesn't have to be you. So anyways, hope you all have a great week. We will see you Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good night, everybody. Thank you for being here. So, all right.
Oh, you're waiting for me. Was I supposed to say?
Oh, I was waiting. I was waiting for you to say goodbyes too.
Yes.
So.
All right. Yeah, we'll catch you on the next one.
Yep. You're like, just go shut it off real quick, right? Like, goodbye, ding. So. All right. Good night, everybody. Happy 4th of July. We'll see you next time. Friday night at 7.